Conversations with Kenni.
This podcast is sponsored by Visibility Solutions Media.
Conversations don't just reveal the truth. Conversations also shapes culture. Welcome to another edition of Conversations with Kenni. Today on the show, I have with me a phenomenal young Nigerian. He's a storyteller, and everything he does is connected to storytelling. He's a poet, he's a spoken word artist, he's an author, he's a journalist, he's a man of many parts. Join me in welcoming Grand Tycoon. Welcome to the show.
Fuck it. They call me Grand Tycoon, the king of rhymes. My flow sweet like Korean time. I'm a young boy, I know they commit crime, but I'm a young dude, I'm still in my prime. Now what I did wanted, like say I didn't crime. Some people they vex, cause now my time. They won't collect my sugar, give me lime. Now they call me thief, but I know still one dime. They say I know go blow, but I they work with God time. So yeah, so I just
You go do one for us. So before you go customize one for us.
no shaking.
Okay,
Yeah.
but let's talk about how did all this start. When I met you, because I like to personal. When I met you, you were not. It was along the line that I realized that you also do all these things. We did start out during your early journalism journey, or you've always been a poet.
Okay, so we met on the field as journalists.
Yes.
So I did spoken word started before journalism, right? I had already published 2 books. Even as of the time I left the university, I had published 2 books. I was doing spoken word, I was performing at events, I was doing MC, I was anchoring events, I was singing, I had songs also. I have an audio book of my album, of my spoken word books, that's Oriki, that also has some songs on it. So I'd been doing all that before journalism, okay? So, but when I was in school, I also edited the campus magazine and stuff like that. So at the point, I now figured that, you see, it's not every day that I get to write books. It's not every day that gigs come, to anchor events or to perform at places. So I also figured that as a young person, I needed a job that I could do. But I did not want a 9-to-5 job. I didn't want the traditional job. And I felt that, okay, what's the closest job to what I like to do, which is to write, right? And I figured that journalism is the closest one that I know that I can do week in, week out. But still, it's not like the conventional 9-to-5 job where you have to, wake up in the morning, wear your suit and tie, rush to the office and come out. Journalism is not like that. So that was why I delved into journalism. So spoken word, all this came before journalism.
So, but it was like at some point, because when I met you, it was like spoken word took a
backseat.
Yes.
Yes. So, because journalism is a jealous lover, a jealous profession. So the plan was that, okay, as I'm doing my journalism, I would be doing my side gigs. But as it happened, I've always been an entertainment journalist. An entertainment journalist, our work is at its peak on Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays.
Yes.
Most Friday, Saturdays, we are in the office, So most times when gigs come, they are weekend gigs. So there was no time for that. Gradually, unintentionally, it just took a backseat. That at a point, it just seemed as if there was no spoken word again, right? Because journalism now took all of my time and all that. But so at a point, I now came to the realization that, hey, dude, you have to be intentional about this. In as much as, yes, the workload is crazy and stuff, but I didn't want to get lost in journalism to the point that, just like you said, to the point that nobody would even know that side of me.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't see myself, like I always tell people that I don't see myself as a journalist per se. I see myself as an entertainer in journalism. So I'm not a journalist who covers entertainment. I'm an entertainer who does journalism. So that's the way it is. So those are different aspects of my career. So I don't want to just do, even at this stage, I don't want to just do spoken word. I still want to do journalism because journalism is something that I love, that I enjoy. So I want to do it, and I also still want to do spoken word. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm doing my spoken word, I'm doing my journalism. It could be tough, but I think I find more fulfillment doing that.
So, I've written out questions, but I told you, I don't like being
don't like to keep to script, yes.
At all. So I just suddenly noticed your intensity. What did they do? I just suddenly, I didn't tell you, but I was a bit bothered about it not clashing with work.
Yeah.
Because I know your work is also intense. But when I started seeing the intensity by which you were just pursuing the spoken word, career, and at what point did you decide that, did you decide to just shift the gear and?
Okay, so I think I came to that realization last year. Last year was when I decided to be more intense with it, and I figured that I'm not getting any younger, and whatever you want to do, you have to do it. I was watching one of your videos this morning, coincidentally, where you said that the true tragedy is not about the people who die; it's about what dies in you while you live.
Yes.
Basically, that sums up what happened. Like, no, I don't. These things are part of me, right? And so the way that I went about it is, I also did not go about it recklessly, right? Because like I said, I still want to keep doing journalism, and journalism is something that I enjoy doing. So I had conversations with my bosses before I got to my anywhere I work. Like I said, before journalism, I had written 2 books. I had spoken word poetry, so they are part of my CV. So my employer knows that this is part of me. It's not something that I just started. I had been doing this before I even got into journalism. So, and I'm like, see, this is what I can do. I've got my eyes on the ball. This is not going to affect my focus, right? I'm doing spoken word. I'm doing the same intensity that I'm putting into my spoken word career. I'm putting that same intensity, if not more, in my journalism career. So that I don't want anybody to say, it's because he's doing spoken word. That is not, no.
Yes.
I make sure that my output, my productivity, as much as I can, is even more than the person who does not seem to be doing anything else. So that there's no space for that, right? I feel I have the capacity, I can handle it, and there are no conflict of interest. And also because in the world that we are in today, so another thing that also made me come to that realization was that I see doctors who do spoken word, who do content. We have a Aproko doctor,
yes.
We have a Defunke. I see lawyers who do content. We have Oga the lawyer, yes, my brother. We have a couple of other people like that. So as a journalist, and I do spoken word, why can't I? It does not affect anything, right? It is because a lot of people also want to see that side of me. People who had known me as a spoken word artist back in the day used to express worry that, come on, give us some of those things that we liked you for, that we knew you for, because they knew me as a spoken word artist. So they were like, no, okay, you're a journalist, but also give us some of that. So it was in a bid to cater to all those different, diverse areas, because I see them as different expressions of my creativity. So when I'm in the newsroom, I'm a journalist, 100%. That is what I'm focused on. Even when I'm driving on the street, when I'm going about, I'm a journalist. I'm looking for news. When I'm scrolling through social media, I do it as a journalist. I'm looking for news. Yeah. I'm not just a consumer on social media. Right. As when I look through social media, I'm looking for raw materials. What can I turn into news? What has this place? What's the buzz that is happening that I can turn into news? What's trending? That is my focus, right? But when I'm at home, when I'm off work, I'm a spoken word artist, and there are times when I get to the office. Before getting out of the vehicle, I do videos. Many of the videos that I do it at the car park of my workplace before getting into the office. It doesn't take me 1 minute to do that. I would have written the script. When I get there, I put my camera on the dashboard. I do my thing. 1 minute, I'm out.
Talking about writing scripts, something just dropped in my mind. For you, spoken word artists, you mentioned you created a scenario around you just getting to the office. You got the inspiration, you write it down. How do you memorize your scripts?
Okay, so the thing is, I try to keep it short, right? And I try to keep it relatable. I have some scripts that I write part time. You understand? That I've written beforehand. So, for example, because I also realized that, which is also one thing that journalism has taught me, that for whatever you want to do, there has to be a structure to it. So I have a structure. I have times that I put out content. So it's not just like a hobby that, anytime I feel like I put out content. No. That way, I won't be able to track what I'm doing. I won't be able to say, whether I'm doing well or not. So I put out content 3 times a week. Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays.
Structured.
I have a structure. So beforehand, I already know that, so I put out the content yesterday, that's Tuesday. For Thursday, I already have the material that I want to record on Thursday, right? So I already have between yesterday when I put out the other one and Thursday to memorize and to internalize the one that I want to do on Thursday. So by the one I want to do on Thursday. So sometimes if an inspiration, as we're talking now, an inspiration could come to me, I'll write it down. I might not eventually, the inspiration that comes to me, it might be like 3 weeks later that I would eventually do it.
Yeah.
You understand? So I have many that I have already that I have written down. That so when the time comes, I just quickly internalize it, quickly memorize it, and and I record when I have to.
Before we go on a short break, where would you describe as the weirdest place you've gotten inspiration?
The weirdest place that I would say that I've got inspiration are I get inspiration from the simple things. I like to say that I am a deep thinker in the sense that simple things. So one of the weirdest places I've got inspiration is from arguments. Two friends are fighting, right? Two friends are fighting, and I'm saying serious issues like that. Two friends are fighting. This one did this. This one did that, and that's why I came up with one of my pieces called "This Life Na Jungle," because a friend, it was about disloyalty. This friend was, they were calling me to mediate between them. But as I was mediating between them, I was like, wait, this thing is deeper than this. So in as much I was being a peacemaker, but I was also being a poet. So from their fight, I was like, I've got something from here. So that is it. It could be neighbors who are arguing. It could be neighbors who are saying something. Somebody could just say something, and I'll pick it up from there. So it's from little things like that I get my inspiration. So from it could be from an argument. It could be from somebody passing and saying something. It could be something like over here. I've heard one time I heard I think a organizer. I was passing by, and if organizer said something, it clicked. I picked something from there, then I developed it. So those are some of the weirdest places that I've got inspiration from.
Fantastic. Before we go on a short break, I want to ask about. Let's talk about your events you perform. At I saw you perform at Bengadinka's event,
Ashiri's event,
and some other events you've done. What do you do to? How do you guide? I know you've always been a performer and all that, but how do you guide against stage fright? For someone who's watching, who is probably a public speaker, a performer, an entertainer, a spoken word artist like you, what would be your advice? Some of them fear is stopping them from stepping out.
Yeah.
They will feel like they need to, everything has to be perfect before they step out. What would be your advice?
Okay, so one thing I always do is every of my performance I see like will be my last performance.
Really?
Yes. That this could be my last performance. This is also, and because I have kids, right? I'm married and I have kids.
Yeah.
So I want my kids so when I want to perform, I want to do a video that my daughter can watch in 10 years time, in 15 years time, and say, see, that's how my daddy did it. So even before every event, there always comes that nervousness.
Yeah.
There are times that before I climb on the stage, I'm like, am I really ready? Am I sure that I have all these things together? Because spoken word, if you miss a line, you could just get off beat and all that. So, but once I get on the stage, once the mic gets to my hand, whether I'm ready or not, I give it my whole. So it would interest you to know that there are times when I come on stage and when I perform, I miss lines, but I go on. I miss lines, but I go on that you wouldn't even know. It's only someone who has heard like the full piece. Who knows the track? That will know that I think there was a line missing here. So that is it. So when I'm on stage, I say, okay, I'm on stage. I'm going to connect to the audience. So I don't see the audience as a crowd. I see the audience as people. So when I'm on stage, when I see people, I just concentrate on one person. I talk to that person. So at each stage, I'm performing for different individuals in the audience. So it's not like I'm performing for everybody. I'm performing for everybody, but I'm also performing for individuals. So when I'm focusing on one person and I'm performing to the person and the person smiles and the person claps, it gingers me. I go on and on and on. Maybe I'm performing to this person and the person is just sitting there, pressing his phone, not really interested. I quickly move on. I make this person no go, I quickly move on. I do like that. So I also feed off the energy of the audience. But as a performer, it's also good to throw out that positive energy there, right?
For your staff.
Yes, the mistake that many performers or many entertainers make when it comes to this is, so when they eventually go up, they now become the entertainment instead of performing, because they are not. So if you are giving off negative energy, if you're timid or you're afraid, the audience would know, and you would that is the energy that they would also give you back. So it's very important to project that energy, to project that, hey, I'm a confident person and I'm going to do this, even if I'm not feeling all that confident inside. But I'll show you that I'm confident, and so they will perceive me like, is this guy that is just coming and he's not even showing any sign of state fright, and they give it back to me, and so it involves like a circle like that.
Fantastic. We'll go on a short break. Before we come back from the break, conversation will continue. Stay with us.
What does success mean to you? To a singer, success is about selling out a concert and having hit songs. To a filmmaker, success is about fans raving about his or her blockbuster movie. To an entrepreneur, success is about converting prospects into lifelong customers. For us at Visibility Solutions Media, our success is when we help you successfully tell your story and win in the marketplace. We produce videos that matter, media campaigns that sell, content that puts your brand in the spotlight. In short, we are the one your brand needs today and forever. Visit us at vsmpr.com or call 0805 468 0266.
Welcome back from the break. This is the Conversations with Kenny, and we see her with us, Grand Tycoon. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank
Before
you for
we went
having
on
me.
the break, I wanted to ask you about, I saw a video, of your daughters vibing to one of your, I like to call it tracks. I don't know.
Yeah, of course, there are tracks actually.
Yeah, it's vibing to one of your tracks, one of your spoken word performance and videos. How were you able to get them along, and your wife too? How were you able to get them to buy into it?
Okay, so I am who I am, in the sense that I don't like to be a different person outside and a different person indoors. I don't have time for that. So whatever I do outside is what I do inside. So anybody in my space needs to know that is how I am. So of course, with my spoken word poetry, sometimes you talked about how do I get to internalize and memorize some of these things. So because I rehearse too around the house, so sometimes when I'm rehearsing, so when I want to rehearse, I like to be in my space. But of course, my daughter, she's curious. She's like, "Oh, daddy, I want to be." I was like, "No, you're going to disturb me." But she's like, "No, I won't disturb you. I'll be there, right?" So when I do some of my pieces, when I do some of those tracks, when I'm rehearsing them, she's always there. She's listening to some of the stuff that I do, and from there, she's picking up bits and pieces of what I do. So some of these videos, I put them on our tab, right? Because especially because some of these things I feel that she can learn from them. Aside the fact that, yes, I'm her dad, but some of these things that I do, I believe that if she listens to them well enough, she can, at an early stage, she can imbibe these things and she can learn from them. So I put them, especially the ones that are inspirational. So I put them in our tab, so she listens to them. There are cartoons there, there are stuff there. But funny enough, sometimes she won't watch cartoons, she'll go and watch those videos. Wow. She would memorize them, she would know it. Sometimes she would take the phone, record herself, perform it, sometimes she would miss some lines and stuff, but I would also encourage her that, oh, okay, you can do this better. I would also rehearse with her, so in a sense to also build up our so that she knows how to speak, even in public, and stuff like that. So I put some of those videos on her tab, and she gets to to know more about it. So whatever I do, whatever I put out has to be content that I can that my daughter can listen to.
You don't do vulgar content.
Yeah, so there is a space for that, right? So when it comes to, I don't do vulgar content, right? But there are some content that should be for adults, right? So it's not necessarily vulgar, but of course it's just for adults. So there's that. So the ones 18 plus, right? So, because I don't believe that everything should just be PG or inspirational and stuff like that. So there should be stuff about love, stuff about romance. It's not necessarily vulgar, but it's not for kids. So the ones that I put on her tab, the ones that she knows, are the ones that are PG content that children can listen to. So those ones that are inspirational. I have a particular piece called A Woman Is. So I actually made that piece for my daughters because that is the kind of woman that I want them to become. So I want her to listen to it and know it that, no, a woman is a fighter. When she knows that, when somebody is saying that, oh, women are weak, she'll be like, a woman is a fighter, a beacon of hope, making the world brighter. She has been hearing it since she was 4 years old. So how can you now come out and tell her that a woman is weak? No, It's not true. She will argue with you. She has been listening to this thing. She was a kid. That is what it is. So if she goes out today and someone is saying, "Oh, women are weak," it will be strange to her. Really, a woman is weak? But my daddy said a woman is a fighter, a beacon of hope, making the world brighter. She can burn like a lighter. Yet she could be meek. She's not weak, because if you cross her, she'll sting. A woman is more than a fine face, more than a nice shape. She enhances the landscape, brightens up every place, blessed with such elegance and grace. For women, let's make the world a better place, a safer place, where they don't feel like praise. A strong woman prays, she slays. She's a helpmate, but she's nobody's slave.
Fantastic.
So when she listens to all those things, day in, day out, it forms if it's imprinted in our subconscious.
Yes.
So that is basically what it is.
So let's talk about the entertainment part of what's entertainment as an entertainment journalist. What has your experience been like over the years? Behind the scenes, what would you say it has been like? Yes.
Okay, so the journey has been ups and downs. There's been different highs, different lows, but it's been a truly enjoyable ride. I've really enjoyed it. I've been able to interview some of the top entertainers in the country. People like Burna Boy, people like Chimamanda Adichie, Peter Edochie, Mercy Johnson, Mercy Aigbe, Iyabo Ojo, and the likes. Many of them. So it's really an interesting thing, because many of these people have interesting stories. So when I interview them, I also pick from it. Before my audience gets to enjoy those interviews, I also enjoy those interviews.
Yes.
So I learn from them. But of course, in this climb, there are also some certain things about journalism that I do not like. Right?
Let's talk about
that. So you see, while starting out in the industry, there are some journalists I see, some senior journalists I see, and I go, okay, I like what this person is doing. But there are also some senior journalists I say, God, please, I don't want to end up like this person. Right? In the sense of, you see, because people are, sometimes they feel, oh, journalists are these, then they look down on them and they treat them anyhow. I was recently at a function and somebody was saying, oh, because they treated journalists a certain type of way. Then the journalist now say, why are you people treating us this way? Because you feel that we are not well paid. And yes. So I said, see, in this country, there's nobody that is well paid. Doctors are not well paid. Lawyers are not well paid. Judges are not well paid. Bankers are not well paid. There is nobody that's well paid when it comes to it. So if that is the basis of your argument, I don't buy that. We might not be well paid as much as we should, as much as we want to, but there is a dignity in our profession. There's a dignity in what we do. And that is about how and it also boils down to how we carry ourselves, how some of these journalists, how they behave. Do you understand? So when you as a journalist, I believe that every journalist should embody the beats they cover, right? As an entertainment journalist, you are covering entertainers. You need to dress the part.
Exactly.
You need to look the part, right? When you are talking to entertainers, let them see that you are dressed like them. But not that you go. Maybe you want to go and interview an entertainer and you are dressed in shirt and trouser and blah blah blah, and they look at you.
Let me share an experience. One of our colleagues, shared. Let me even mention them. I think Rotimi and Demola. There was a time. I think one of them shared or told me the story. They went to interview one of the superstars. And when they approached those superstars, maybe two actors, they were asking Rotimi and Demola, are you sure you guys are journalists? Because, of course, these guys, they dress well.
Well,
they were shocked that, are you sure you guys are journalists? Journalists know they dress this way. Because they have a particular picture of the way, which boils down to what you cited initially in your, when you got to these journalism points, when you said some of the old folks, shout out to them. They paved the way, like the artists would say, but they also didn't create the right image.
Yes, for themselves.
So that's why people would just feel like they can.
There have been times that there have been on different occasions where I've gone to interview entertainers, like in public space, like in restaurants, and we'll just sit down there and I bought food. I bought for them.
Really?
Yes, I went to interview them, and we had just water in our front. They didn't. The person had water because the person was already seated before I got in there. She had water on our table. Me, there was nothing, and I was like, no, I beg, we're in a restaurant now, and I ordered food, and I was like, no, I can't just do what do you want? And I bought the person food. So when I'm asking the person questions, it's as if I took the person on a date. So when I'm asking the person questions, the person has to sit up and answer me. You understand? So it's not like, so it is what it is. So we need to do some of those things to let them know that, hey, right? So like I said, maybe because of the kind of perspective that I came into journalism with, I see myself as an entertainer doing journalism, right? You're a famous singer, you're a famous actor, you're a famous content creator, you're a famous comedian. We are colleagues. I'm a journalist. You're a famous comedian, you're a famous singer, you're a famous actor. I'm a journalist. We are colleagues. We are different parts of the ecosystem. So the fact that you're an actor does not mean that come, I can act as well. Right? So it's just that, okay, this is the part of the ecosystem that I'm functioning in. I'm not lesser than you in any way. Right? So I always also like to project that. I'll let you know that, hey, come, if I'm doing an interview with you, you're not necessarily, you're doing me a favor, right? In the sense that you're giving me content, right? I'm also doing you a favor because I'm giving you publicity. And when you look at it, look at who is really helping who. Because the interview that I do for you is helping you to build your public image. If an actor or a singer wants to travel out and you go to any embassy, they will Google you. They will look at the interviews you have done. If we did not interview you, they will deny you the visa. There's a veteran actor, I'm not going to call his name. I was doing an interview with him, so I asked him a question. And he begged me, said, please, I want to beg you. They wanted to give him an honorary award in Denmark. But when they Googled his name, all what they were finding was, he beat his wife, he did this. Those were the news stories. They had to take that out. They said, no, we can't give that award with this kind of image that when we Google you, this is what we saw. So the journalist, the actor had to beg me and say, please, I don't want to talk about this area again because this is what it is. But I said, see, even in I have to do my job. So, but this is letting you know how much power that journalists have because we mold the perception that people have. If any international organization is going to take you serious as an entertainer, they're not going to look at what comments fans are giving under your page because fans are biased, right? Because your fans like you. They don't see anything wrong with what you do. They want to see independent journalists. What is Punch saying about you? What is Vanguard saying about you? What's Guardian saying about you? Because that is the way it works in other climes. They want to see, okay, what is the New York Times saying about this person? Because they believe that the journalist, as the fourth estate of the realm, is the person who knows this person and can give an impartial analysis. So when we come to that realization, then we know the power that we hold and we use it correctly.
Let me ask a follow-up question. We were talking about it before we started the show. Content creation or journalism in the age of content creation. What's your take? Do you think journalism is an endangered species, or do you think journalists should evolve into content creators?
Okay, this is a very wonderful question. And when it comes to topics like this, I like to use one example. Kodak, right, was one of the biggest companies in the world. Kodak that made cameras.
Yes. That
made, I think, films. They make camera and they make films.
Yes, films. But
Kodak is no more. But do you know that people in this day and age take more pictures than in the days of Kodak? So the fact is not that people stopped taking pictures. It's the fact of how people were taking pictures that changed. Back in the day, when we were kids, the only time we would take pictures was maybe when you were having your birthday or you went for an event. But now we take pictures. Most of my pictures, I take them when I'm in my house, when I'm this, when I'm that. So it means that people are taking more pictures today than when Kodak was reigning. So how come Kodak is no more? It's not that people stop taking pictures. It means that the way that people take pictures has changed. So it means that journalism is not an endangered species. People still love to read. People still love to get information.
News, yes.
They love to get news. But where they are getting it from is changing, has changed, and will continue to change. So as a journalist, so don't be this just like I said that I get inspiration from anywhere from my spoken word pieces. This is also one of the things that inspired one of my pieces where I said you need to be focused on your targets but flexible with your approach, right? So you know that you want to tell a story. So the way that the story is being told has changed. In this day and age, whatever you do, there has to be an aspect of content creation with it. Just like I also mentioned earlier that you have journalists, you have lawyers. You have, there are many lawyers, there are many doctors, there are many tips that medical content creators give that you would, before you know those information, you have to go and read, you have to go and Google to go and learn, you know, about all these medical terminologies. But it makes it easier, right? It doesn't mean that, does that stop people from going to the hospital? Will I say, okay, because I heard this person talk about this, that, so I'll have a headache now, I'll still go to the hospital. It doesn't mean that doctors are endangered. These days, there's no condition that you cannot learn about. If you go and Google cancer, or you go on any of these AI platforms, it will break down cancer for you, tell you what is causing cancer and all that. Doesn't mean that you will not go to the hospital for a test. You will still go. It does not stop it. It only means that the form, right? And this is one of the things that also happened to comedians, and I want us to learn from it. Many comedians who do stand-up comedy, at a point when things were evolving and content creators were coming up, they were doing skits, they were doing that. Content creators, the skit makers, they're also doing comedy, right?
Yes.
So, but those comedians, some of those comedians, they were just, oh, I'm a stand-up comedian.
You know, when we even ask them questions, no,
those days, yes.
They will say,
they
can't be affected.
But I mean,
now they use them for their skits.
Now they use them for their skits to move their shows. So it means that you need to understand that what you have, right? You can use different ways of reaching your audiences. There are so many things that as a journalist, so I'm a journalist, right? I'm also a spoken word artist. Okay, so so when it also comes to the kind of content that I create, I also try to be responsible enough not to do any kind of content that would interfere with my job, right? With my day job as a journalist. Right? So there are different sides of a pod. So whatever it is, as a journalist, you have interests. You have things that you like. You have things that people want to learn about.
Yeah.
So, for example, and so it's even, and I must to be honest with you, I must also give kudos to my organization in the sense that we go for a lot of training and they teach us about some of these things. You have to be a content creator. You're going to an interview. You have to go and interview the top entertainer, right? You do the interview, you put it out in your paper or in your TV station or whatever.
Yeah.
But there are also lots of people who want to see the lead up to it. I went to interview Sake Sintin Adebutu, he's a billionaire, the Baba Jebu.
Yes.
So I went to interview him, right? I did a video of the process of me going to interview him. That video was one of my most
I saw the video.
The most viewed content.
Saw that video.
Nothing about that interview was in that video.
I didn't even see you interviewing him. No,
I did not. The interview was for my publication and it stayed there. But the content of how I went there, how I got to his house, looking at all the choice automobiles, the Bentleys, the Rolls Royce in his compound, everything, blah blah blah. That was what I did content about, and I put it out there, and it went viral. So that is what we're talking about. So you just have to know how to do your thing. If you are not a content creator in this day and age, you are slowly sending yourself to oblivion.
Fantastic. Final question. It's not even a question. Just do us a piece, as we round up the show.
Okay, so you see, the fact that person they drink, smoke, no mean saying a bad person. And say person they go church or mosque every day, no mean saying a good person. This life now one big lesson. The more we live, the more we learn. Yet, small pikin fit get sense past old man. And you go see some old men, they act like small pikin. Think the thing. Looks can be deceptive, so you have to be perceptive. You don't need to be a detective to be effective in detecting fake love. Salutation is not love. Not every smile comes from the heart. Then they laugh with you, but they won't tear you apart. You need to think with your head and love with your heart.
Fantastic one. Thank you for coming on the show. I still have a list of questions. Definitely will bring you back, but this is going to be the first dose of also experiencing Grand Tycoon. We want to wish you the best in your undertakings, and we're looking forward to a Grand Tycoon live in concert.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah.
That has been today's edition of Conversations with Kenni. Thank you for watching. God bless you.